He was a suave and sophisticated young actor of classic Hollywood, spending time as a race car driver, a naval officer, and even becoming a legend in Hollywood, playing characters such as cowboys, gamblers, criminals, and even father figures throughout his career, finally becoming a businessman and leaving his own trademark of goods that people could enjoy today. This is the legendary Paul Newman, and this is his basic biography. Early life. Paul Newman was born in Ohio, United States, on the 26th of January 1925. He was born into a Jewish family that had immigrated from Eastern Europe to the United States for a better life. He started acting at a young age, spending time in performances at school and even outside of school, with both his parents helping him along the way. This was a great start for the young Paul Newman, as he knew what career he would follow when he grew older, even after his education. Even in his education, he began to interact and even achieve his long-term goals, performing in the 1930s whilst in the midst of the Great Depression at a young age. Paul Newman would stay in education throughout his high school years and even his university years during the 1940s. However, he would enlist in the United States Navy during the Second World War, where he was able to continue his education, but not being able to attend university due to spending full time in supporting the United States in the war effort. But even given an opportunity as a naval officer to gain his degree at Yale University, he would also engage in battles and win most of the battles for his country. However, when the war ended in 1945, he would gain a complete degree, but this would be an education in college, not at a university. Since the war had ended, he was able to graduate from college, and Paul Newman was able to set his sights on being an actor full time rather than part time. Acting career. Paul Newman would go into show business after fighting for the United States Navy in World War II. Once the war was over, theatre was calling for the young actor, as he was able to pick up and even gain acting skills, as well as show his experiences on stage after his education. The 1950s was a great place for young actors and actresses to take up stage acting and even Broadway, as they were the first of a new generation of actors and actresses that would provide young rebels on the big stage and even playing heroes of old on in their version of each character. Paul Newman started his career by moving to New York to pursue this particular career as an actor. During the same decade, he was able to tour with various acting groups by managing his own performances on Broadway and even touring around the United States. His first performance was called Picnic in 1953, as this would be the launch of his acting career, with Hollywood executives looking at this charming actor and would become the new lead they were searching for in Hollywood and even for the silver screens. This would become in the shape of Paul Newman, who would be the only star or that was lesser than other heavyweight actors who had done the same, as he would be able to contend with actors such as James Dean and Marlon Brando, who were praised for their younger performances and for being one of the heroes of the young audiences at the time. Paul Newman would not be able to be one of those heavyweights in the 1950s, but he would be able to star in his first performance on the silver screen, which was called The Silver Chalice in 1954, a year after his Broadway success. He continued to act in movies in that same particular decade of the 1950s, and this was linked to war heroes, cowboys, and even everyday characters. From naval officer to Hollywood star, it was a rocky start for the young actor, and he would achieve some awards due to becoming a newcomer. His luck was about to change in the 1960s, as this decade would have him become a household name and even another young lead on the silver screen. Starring in the movie The Hustler in 1961, where he was able to play a pool player that would overcome challenges, gangsters, and even becoming a well known act in the following in the same decade. From this success, he was able to become known as the hustler Paul Newman, and was given more movies to build up his acting credits, and even become a legend at a young age. More movies in the 1960s made him become a bona fide young actor or young legend, even one of the best actors of all time. He would star in another iconic movie called Cool Hand Luke in 1967, where he would play a criminal that was a World War II veteran within his life, and even go through the life of this character in prison, and then gaining new friends along the way in his prison sentence. He was given many nominations at the time, but he was able to continue starring in very good movies, and even particularly action and western movies. Another movie he would star with another young actor, Robert Redford, who was another Hollywood heavyweight, as well as a household name, was in the classic movie called Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, which was filmed during the end of the 1960s and even presented at the same time. The 1970s would be another great decade for the young Paul Newman, as he would be able to share his creative freedom with working with directors and sometimes working behind the scenes for various movies, even becoming a director himself in the same decade. This would be related to actors, and he would be working with actors as well. He would be working with actors that were related to the action genre, working with people like actors such as Steve McQueen in 1974 in the movie Towering Inferno. Then he would star with Robert Shaw and even again with Robert Redford in The Sting in 1973, and then finally with comedic legend Mel Brooks in The Silent Movie in 1976. As you can see, he was actually an icon from in these two decades of the 1960s and 1970s, and his star would continue to shine on. Personal life and final years. Paul Newman was married at least two times in his life. First wife was named Jackie White from 1949 to 1958 was their relationship. Second wife was Joanne Woodward from 1958 to his death in 2008. He would have at least six children throughout his relationships, and he would be able to be nominated and win some awards as being an actor. Sometimes spending time as being a race car driver, as he would be able to win races and become part of various businesses due to himself being a businessman in the 1980s, which he spent most of his time in the 1980s being a businessman rather than spending time as an actor. He would even have his hand in cooking, even by releasing his own cookbooks and his own style of cooking. From this passion, he was able to release and create his own ranch sauce and even his own delights of goods that was used for cooking, as this will be called Newman's Own, which has now become an iconic condiment around the world, even till today. His acting career was still able to go on whilst being an entrepreneur, starring in many movies as an older gentleman or a father figure. The 1990s would have Paul Newman starring with more iconic actors, such as Bruce Willis in Nobody's Fools in 1994, and still carrying on his acting career even into the 2000s, starring with Tom Hanks in Road of Perdition in 2002. Finally, he would star in his final or his before his final departure in cinema in a final film called Cars in 2006 with Owen Wilson before retiring in that same particular year of 2006. Legacy and death. Sadly, race car driver and actor Paul Newman passed away on the 26th of September 2008 at the age of 83 from cancer. He was a legend that made a big impact on various actors and people in Hollywood, and becoming a cool and collective actor in most of his movie roles, even becoming a legend in most of the characters that he was able to play, and being remembered for playing these characters. However, actors such as Matthew McConaughey and Owen Wilson, to name a few, were able to be inspired by this legend. His legacy lives on with most of the movies he starred in were able to be shown around the world today, and even still selling his product is homemade and even his business products that he was used in cooking. Newman's own is still sold around the world today, even in the UK, United States, and even in Asia. Still, his family was able to continue his legacy even till today, as some of his family members are able to continue his family business. Thank you for watching, and please let me know. Please subscribe if you haven't done so. My name is Suki Cookie, and please have a chance to look at my other videos and stay tuned for more. Thank you.